the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Theresa May, of course, has had talks with the US President Donald Trump. The duo spent about an hour together in the first visit by a foreign leader since Mr. Trump took the oath of office on the 20th of January. Strengthening US UK ties, trade, foreign affairs, these are all high on the agenda. Let's get a little more detail on what exactly went on in that meeting and the reactions we're getting to it. Daniel Rangers joins me now live from Washington, D.C. Daniel, what sort of reactions are you getting to the press conference? What are your initial impressions of the content that came out of it?
Well, let's get this out the way straight away. The liberal elites in Europe do not like Donald Trump at all. So Theresa May, as a centre-right politician, is going to take a lot of political heat for what's happened today. Having said that, got that out the way, understand that what Theresa May has done today is something of a victory for British interests. She has managed to secure the Queen, saying that she invited Donald Trump to come to London this year to have a full state visit. That's the first thing. Second, she's got Donald Trump to say on tape that he 100% stands by NATO. In return, she says she will try to persuade other members of NATO to stump up at least 2% of their GDP to be spent on security, defense expenditure, and that would include a ramped up level of cybersecurity and counterterrorism, something that's absolutely central to Donald Trump's agenda. She also reiterated the kind of populist politics that Donald Trump feels extremely comfortable with. She said that we need to put ordinary people at centre stage, very much echoing what Donald Trump was saying there. So really aligning the politics between the two leaders. On Vladimir Putin, there's clearly some difference and some tension because of the fact that Donald Trump's saying, I don't know if I'll like him, if I don't like him, or somewhere in the middle. Theresa May making the case to Donald Trump that nothing should be done on Russian sanctions until the Russians comply with the Minsk agreement on Ukraine. Back to you, Rama.
Indeed. Let's focus on something that didn't get a lot of attention. There's a lot of dodging about this business of trade. The UK cannot formally start trade talks with the United States until 2019. So isn't all this talk about securing a bilateral trade with the United States, at this point anyway, just talk?
It's language. If the UK and the US want to talk in great detail about trade, they can do so. But as long as they don't use the words negotiation in a formal sense, then it seems to me that they're not going to be out of compliance with what they've agreed with the Europeans. And at the end of the day, when they get to early January 2019, if that's the time when they exit the European Union trading system, they will need to have something in place. The main point here, Rama, is that this is about queuing, because the American trade negotiators can only do so much. If Donald Trump is saying that they are at the head of the queue, that is a major advantage for the UK leading up to the period when it no longer has the trade deals in place with the EU and will have something in place for the United States, its biggest trade partner, apart from the European Union.
Indeed. Differences in regulation between the US and the UK, these were one of the huge sticking points in talks on the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, TTIP, on just about everything from what chemicals are deemed to be safe for industrial, cosmetics and home use. Isn't that likely to be a stumbling block in setting up any bilateral trade deal between the United States and the United Kingdom?
So Donald Trump is swaying way away from multilateral deals, but is he going to put all of that trade negotiation that went on with TTIP and even TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, is he just going to put that in a grey filing case and throw it away? I don't think so. I think they're going to take out some of those templates, look at them and say, what can we do to basically copy and expand this in a bilateral context and then deal with the issues that we want to individually. So I think there will be some use of that, some traction in that relationship. And fundamentally, as I say, if the trade negotiators are focused, as the President has indicated, on the UK, then that will be the focus of their work, and others will simply have to wait until those trade negotiators are ready to do more business.
Indeed. President Trump also, of course, threatening very vocal, very aggressively on Twitter to impose a border tax of 35% on cars made by U.S. firms in other countries and then imported into the U.S. So if, say, for example, Daniel wants to buy a Jaguar, will he be having to buy it with a tax of 35% from imposed on top of that?
It remains to be seen exactly what Donald Trump wants to do with Europe. I want to make one broad point here. Does Donald Trump feel comfortable politically with Angela Merkel after she criticised him? I don't think so. How about the French, the centre-left politician Francois Hollande? I very much doubt it. Does Europe have a lot of concerns about what Donald Trump is doing? Absolutely. So who's in a position now to be an interlocutor? Theresa May. So that's the key dynamic here. As far as these trade deals and this 35% level, I mean, it's unlikely that the Donald Trump administration is going to want to directly punish an ally that it's just said is absolutely central to US interests. They stood by the bust of Winston Churchill, having put it back in place after President Obama took it out of the Oval Office. There's a lot of symbolism, but I think underlying that, I think they are going to want to work in each other's interests. And I think this meeting, though it is politically difficult for Theresa May, will in the end be pretty important in terms of conveying British interest at a time when the UK is losing some influence in Europe.
Indeed, that should be a pretty interesting story to follow, especially given how somewhat unpredictable the White House has been. We'll leave it there for the time being. Thank you for that. That's Daniel Rangers joining us live, of course, from Washington, D.C.